I built a successful bakery from nothing over 10 years, then discovered my parents tricked me into signing over ownership to my twin sister while I was heavily medicated after surgery. What I did next shocked our entire family and community. Growing up, my twin sister Vanessa was always my parents' clear favorite. She was captain of the cheerleading squad, homecoming queen, and got a full ride to an Ivy League school. I was quieter, more creative, and struggled with undiagnosed dyslexia that my parents dismissed as laziness. After high school, I skipped college and invested my grandmother's small inheritance, $15,000, into learning professional baking. Examen laughed when I announced plans to open a bakery in our small town, especially my family. Another unrealistic dream, my father said at Thanksgiving dinner, but I worked 18-hour days, slept on a cot in my kitchen to save rent money, and slowly built Sweet Rimmed Bakery into a local institution. 10 years later, my little shop had expanded to 3 locations, employed 22 people, and was featured in regional magazines. The business was worth over $1.2 million, according to my accountant. Meanwhile, Vanessa's perfect life hadn't gone as planned. Despite her prestigious degree, she bounced between corporate jobs, accumulating debt, and burning bridges. She moved back home at 32, unemployed again, and living in our parents' guest room. 2 months ago, I needed emergency gallbladder surgery after a severe attack. The procedure was successful, but I developed an infection that kept me hospitalized for 9 days. I was on heavy painkillers and antibiotics that left me groggy and confused. During this time, my parents and sister visited daily, bringing documents they claimed needed immediate signatures for the business insurance updates, vendor approvals, payroll authorizations. I trusted them and signed without reading carefully, too medicated to comprehend the small print. The day I returned to work, I found Vanessa sitting in my office, using my computer. "What are you doing here? What are you doing here?" I asked, still weak from my hospital stay. She smiled smugly. "Running my business, don't worry. I'll keep you on as head baker with a generous salary. You were always better in the kitchen than the boardroom anyway." I thought she was joking until she handed me a legal document with my signature. While I was medicated, I had signed papers, transferring 75% ownership of my company to her, with my parents as trustees until the transition period ended. I immediately called my lawyer, who confirmed the terrible truth. The documents appeared legally binding at first glance. Vanessa had already contacted my vendors and bank, presenting herself as the new owner. That night, my parents called, saying I should be grateful for their intervention. My father actually said Vanessa has the business education to take Sweet Crimped national. "You are holding it back with your small town mentality." I hung up and made 3 decisions. First, I called every employee and loyal customer I knew, explaining the situation. By morning, all 3 locations had staff walkouts and customer boycotts. Second, I retrieved my original recipes and deleted all digital copies from the company servers. These weren't included in the business transfer, as I'd never formally documented them as company property. Third, I withdrew the maximum amount legally allowed from the business accounts before they could be frozen, funds that were still technically mine as partial owner. Within a week, I'd secured a small space across town and opened Second Chance Bakery with my core staff. I took out ads in local papers explaining how my family had deceived me while I was ill. The community response was overwhelming: lines around the block, interviews with local news, and social media support that spread our story statewide. Vanessa and my parents were left with empty storefronts, angry suppliers demanding payment, and a community that refused to support them. They've threatened lawsuits, but my lawyer found problems with how the documents were obtained while I was under medication, giving us strong grounds to fight. Yesterday, my father called begging me to fix this mess and come back to the family business. I told him I already have a family, the employees and community who stood by me when my blood relatives tried to steal my life's work. My new bakery is already turning a profit, and 3 of my former employees are now partners rather than staff. Sometimes losing everything is the push you need to build something better.